The idea from that came, back in when we were in our early 20s, our friends were starting to drop off and get married. And it's that, there's a couple summers where you just start doing the wedding circuit. And the five of us, since we worked together and lived together and socialized with each other, we would get into one car and just drive to all these weddings and kept getting pulled over. And, we were in various states of intoxication. And so we were always like, God, if that cop knew how high we were, he could have screwed with us so much. If he had a sense of humor, and then that was kind of the genesis of the idea. And then, cops who kind of had a sense of humor. And then we had a friend who had a house right up on the Canadian border and Vermont and Canada. And that area of the highway was so dead. And we were like, God, what if you were a cop on this road? Like, how bored would you be? There's nothing to do. You'd have to drum up some business for yourself. And so we kind of married those two things and came up with the idea of cops on this deserted stretch of highway who like to mess with people's heads. My favorite Super Troopers 1 moment was shooting the scene. I have a scene where I'm in the bulletproof jockstrap. And these guys are taking target practice with me. But that scene was shot at the shooting range of the Fishkill maximum security prison. And the wing that was overlooking the shooting range was the worst of the worst, where they kept the worst offenders. And I think they would have an hour a day or even 15 minutes at the top of every hour to just be outside. But it was when I was fully naked. I had the bulletproof jockstrap on, and then I take it off and give it to the rookie, and then I'm just standing there naked. And in between takes, it was very sunny, so I had a red kimono and a parasol that they would use to shield me from the sun. And these inmates were just screaming stuff at me that would make you blush. They were talking about what they were going to do to me and all that. And it was absolutely ludicrous.
I guess kind of the weirdest experience I had was that, I did full frontal nudity in Super Troopers 1 by accident. It was kind of an homage to First Blood, Rambo's First Blood, where I get hosed down in a police station. I think we were so green that we didn't know that when you do nudity in movies and that kind of thing, you wear nude garments to cover up your modesty junk. And unfortunately, we didn't have those. And so I was full nude. And the cameraman, when I turned to camera, he was laughing so hard that his camera dipped down and got everything that I owned. And then we ended up in the editing room having a fight. It was me and Jay Chandrasekhar, the director, about how gritty we should make Super Troopers in terms of how much full frontal nudity, and I lost the fight, and it ended up being there.
In the post, then then we come in and we watch the rough cut, and Kevin was arguing that nobody wants to see Farva's junk. And he was wrong because the rest of us felt unanimously that everyone wanted to see Farva's junk. The funny thing, too, about that day was that that was the day that Jay Chandrasekhar invited his whole family to the set. Yeah. And so there were children. There were children of various ages on set that day. And I guess Jay didn't know the concept of a closed set. And so these kids, it's totally surreal. He's naked, being scrubbed and hosed down. There's little Indian children all along the walls watching this thing with wide eyes. I thought of another fun day also, which was when we shot the death ride, I think is what it's called, at the end of the movie when we're all in the squad car with Chief O'Hagan, and he goes and trashes the police chief's lawn, and we drive around, and we were all jammed into the back of this police car. It was 4 a.m. And Brian Cox, the great Brian Cox, is a trained actor. He has acted all over the world. He's done Shakespeare in Moscow. He's the original Hannibal Lecter. He's amazing, and he's in the back seat with us, and we're just being jackasses, just making mom jokes and things like that. And he's just looking out the window, and he said, "Whatever happened to Kraft?"